were you kind of trying to hold a mirror to maybe Western audiences in terms of telling them something about the immigrant experience? And I find the book fits so well with the current climate of, you know, go back home, wherever, in the UK, in the US, you know, there's always these things, oh, if you don't like it here, then go back. But I feel like Patsy really showed us, like you said, the behind the scenes of how difficult it can be to come, even on a legal path. Not everybody has to come on a boat. You know, lots of people come with visas, but how difficult it is to even get those visas.
Yes, you know, for me, I wanted to write that immigrant experience first and foremost. I was writing, it's so interesting because I was writing Patsy in 2012, before this whole conversation with the current administration in the US. And so, you know, from before that, we have been struggling as immigrants. You know, even the documented immigrants had struggles as well, because to acculturate in a country or to assimilate is also trauma within itself. I know when I came to the United States, there were things that I was learning or had to relearn, and it felt to me traumatic. I felt like I had to, you know, fill out my own student aid forms for college. You know, I had to like learn certain language, not what to say, what not to say to offend people. All those things could be traumatic. So I wanted to really write that in to this narrative, and then of course the added undocumented elements, seeing, like, showing individuals how hard it is, though, especially those. I mean, I don't write to teach people anything, because one of the things that I try not to do as an artist is to be didactic in any way. But what I wanted to capture though is how hard it is to even to be living on that margin as a Jane Doe, somebody who has no social security, somebody who has no health insurance. If something happens to her, all she can do is sit in an emergency room and just hope she gets a doctor who is compassionate, but she can't really pay those bills, given that, you know, she's existing on the outskirts. So wanting to show those things, and if those people on who are in the administration happens to pick up a Patsy, could actually see that they're not stealing anything from Americans. In fact, they're helping to make America great. You know, so those are the things that I write. You know, in writing my characters as complex, hoping that people can see the humanity of these individuals, but at the same time, I, as an artist too, not wanting to overdo that, given that people tend to gravitate towards that quote-unquote good immigrant image, you know, and I feel like especially as Black and brown immigrants, you know, having to overcompensate, having to say, okay, we have to be so perfect then for people to empathize with us. But then, you know, the Patsy, like writing a woman like a Patsy who left her daughter behind, daring them to see that she's also a human being, she's also complex, and she's also worthy of love and attention as well. You know, she doesn't have to be perfect, that good immigrant. And so also unpacking that and begging that question then, you know, do we have to be perfect to be considered as human beings?
I think that was what is very alluring to me, and when it comes to Patsy, that she's not perfect, she's just a human being, but she still deserves to be treated like a human being. She doesn't have to be, you know, extraordinary. Exactly. Yeah, you really brought that across, in my opinion, really, really well.
Thank you. And I even like lend that narrative to mothers as well. People expect put mothers on this pedestal, not expecting them to have flaws, not expecting them to have, they're actually human beings with desires and yearnings and flaws as well, but given the pedestal that they sit on, you know, like, of course, with Patsy leaving her daughter behind, she was a human who had no choice, or felt she had no choice, and the ability to give anything to her daughter. So that's another one of the subplots of, again, developing. You know, kind of the question, you know, what we lose when we choose ourselves, but also what happens when we have no choice to begin with.
What were you trying to let the audience take away from the book in terms of what it means to be a mother in different circumstances, in different places, you know?
So I get that question all the time, especially with readers, because, you know, I feel like motherhood across the spectrum is the same, especially as girls. No matter what culture we were socialized to be mothers, right? We were the first thing that we get handed as girls are dolls. You know, why is that? You know, so those are the things too that, you know, as coming of age and realizing that not all women have that maternal inkling, right? Or not all mothers are like 100% perfect, or want to be, or have to be perfect, So like those are the questions I ask myself when writing. What am I writing against? And those are the things I wanted to unpack, like those tropes of like, do you have to be the perfect mother? No. Do you have to be that woman who wants motherhood? No. And so regardless of the culture, that's something that's unspoken. Many women, especially here in the UK, US, Jamaica, wherever we're from, is something that a lot of women could probably identify with, given that we probably know somebody, or we probably might be that woman ourselves, but at the same time, because of the societal pressures, would never dare to admit that.